Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we want to welcome all of our loyal viewers and listeners. And a big shout out and hello to our new followers on Roku Worldwide as well as Amazon Fire. Our show today is Hot Topic, and our discussion point is media collaborations. We have a very, very special guest today. His name is Kirk Gimenez. He is located in the South Florida area here in the United States, and he's the founder and host of Xizzle TV, which is a free smart TV platform that's on all the major destinations. We're going to hear more about that. And he makes TV shows along with his team in English for Latinos and all minorities. He's also a two-time Emmy winner, network anchor formerly with ESPN and SNY. Let's welcome him to the program and find out what he thinks about media collaborations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Doctor. The good doctor is in, and we're coming to you. We're coming to you live from Miami, Florida. Beautiful, sunny, sexy Miami. Hot Miami.
So hot.
Ya tú sabes. Now you know.
I'm a little bit further north in Boca, but it's still sizzling hot here as well.
Boca. If you're a Seinfeld fan, Boca del Vista. Oh, forget about it.
Forget about it. Kirk, I'm so happy that you're here today. We have a lot to talk about. I want people to know that you and I actually met a couple of years ago. You came onto our platform. I was super impressed with everything that you had built. And then, of course, we go our separate ways and do the things that we're doing. And we come back together and establish the fact that we too can collaborate for the benefit of our audience to give them other places to share their story. But before we go there, let's talk about a little bit how you got involved with television, because you've been on some major platforms. So how did this come about?
Yeah, before I get to that, I'm really excited about the collaboration between your network and my network. Collaboration is key in any business, in any success, in any growth, correct? Especially post-pandemic. So thank you so much for your energy and your willingness to, commit to this collaboration. So thank you so much, Dr. Jacalyn. It all goes back ages ago. 21 years ago, I became the first Latino to anchor in English in ESPN history. So yeah, I was the first. Someone had to be the first, right? But my goal was to be that authentic representation of what the Latino culture was all about. 21 years ago was a much different world to be on global TV. When you're on ESPN, you're on the world, and the time for the Latino had not come yet, right? And the world was just starting to embrace diversity and minorities here in the United States, and that is a purely USA niche, if you will, and USA issue. The embracement of minorities, multiculturalism, and it's part of who we are. It's that melting pot, and I think we're finally becoming that melting pot. It took me 21 years to realize that, I don't have to be the person that everyone else, needs me to be. I'm finally, we're in a place in the USA where that authentic voice can be heard, where it's okay if you speak with a little bit of an accent. Everyone's accepted, everyone's embraced, and having that authentic voice is key, not only in presentation and being on air, but also in marketing and branding, right? And that's what I call Xizzle TV. I call it the Netflix of marketing and branding, but with that authentic voice of reaching those niche audiences. And so that's been my experience. I was on ESPN for 4 years, anchored for the New York Mets at SNY for 8 years. I've anchored for Sports Illustrated. I've anchored for the CW. I've anchored for a lot of local affiliates here in Miami, Florida as well. And I get that a lot. I was like, you seem familiar. Where do I know you from? I said, probably your TV. So that's been my past experience, and finally decided, like you, Dr. Jacalyn, post-pandemic, to do my own thing and be my own man, be my own mission, serve an audience, and be truly representative of what my background is, who I am. I'm an immigrant from Venezuela, bilingual, trilingual. Je parle un petit peu français, since we're on USA Global TV. So that's been my experience. You mentioned I won the 2 Emmys, but more importantly, I've fostered and mentored a lot of minority reporters, anchors, journalists, and that's been my behind the scenes mission. And that's what continues to be my mission today as a diverse business owner and a certified minority business as a marketing media full service ad agency that produces Xizzle TV.
Kirk, it's an absolute honor to be here with you with all of that incredible experience that you have. People may be wondering why leave all that when someone's handling the back end, they're handling the front end, you show up, you do your piece, and then you go. Why give that all up to go out on your own? And you and I both know all that's involved with having your own platform.
And listen, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, listen, I don't have to tell you how hard it is, right? It is super hard, muy difícil. But the key is, as a journalist, as anchors, we all say, oh, my station. No, it's not really your station. It's someone else's station, right? It's a huge corporation station. You just work for that station. And so I had reached the point in my career where I had all this experience. And you know what? I was doing it better, faster, and I can humbly say at a different level than everyone else was. And I read the forest for the trees, and I knew that live TV was dying and that old school media was dying. I said, you know what? Let me take control and really build something of my own, where I can control my own destiny, my own future, and really serve that audience that is underrepresented, and not really served correctly. Correct? And with an authentic voice. I was in those newsrooms. I was in those meetings. And, to be honest with you, no one really cares about the minority, positive story, right? There's a saying in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. The more salacious, the more outrageous the story is, that's what they want to put on television because, train wrecks, are great for ratings, right? Salacious stories are great for ratings. And, I wanted to serve a bigger mission, right? I didn't want to make television for ratings. I want to make lifestyle entertainment television to help people to elevate the Latino, to elevate the minority, to let them know, listen, there's someone out there really representing you, bringing you brands, companies that are built by people like you, that are run like people like you, that have your same mindset, that are doing incredible, amazing things. Black and brown people, I have a saying in my personal business motto is black and brown, don't mess around. But it reflects everything that I do, right? And I wanted other people to realize, listen, black and brown, Asian, women, everyone who's minority, Jewish people, we all tend to think that our stories are ignored. Guess what? Because they are. And I didn't want to be that person to ignore those stories. I wanted to shine the light on those stories and build a platform for those stories. And that's exactly what Xizzle TV is. If you have a brand, if you have a mission, if you are a diverse minority owner or minority background, if you're a nonprofit, I want to tell your story. I want to make it accessible. I want to make it reachable, and I want to make it network level television. Correct, with a network level storytelling, host, voiceover, and delivery and storytelling. Most importantly, right? Stories, videos, or what everything is about. And you tell your story via video, via a network anchor who can get the best out of you. That's what it's about for me. So yeah, it was about controlling my own future, my own destiny. I think that's why we all become entrepreneurs. We reach a certain level of success and expertise and realize I am done answering to people who know less than I do and have less experience than I do. So let me go build my own thing.
I love that. I love that. And what a platform you've built. Something I want to touch on when I started in television, I actually went to a station and I had a program there called Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. And the ownership there said to me, I understand that you're also on the radio. That's a conflict. So you're either here or you're there, but you can't be both places. So you and I could technically be considered competitors in some way, but we're collaborators. So why is it, how is it that being a collaborator is a plus as opposed to being a threat?
Well, especially when you're an entrepreneur, and I think even in the streaming business, right? Even larger corporations are starting to realize that. And listen, I know Disney owns them all, but Disney, Hulu, and ESPN, they have that bundle. And they realize the power is in that packaging. The power is in the collaboration and unifying um, niche audiences. And let's face it, OTT, smart TV platforms, those are all niche audiences, and everyone has their own preferred platform. If it's free, if it's not free, mine is a free platform, and yours is too. And why not collaborate? Why not connect with people who are mission oriented, entrepreneurial leaders, uh, super talented like yourself? So congratulations on USA Global Television. And why not cross pollinate, cross collaborate? It only helps your marketing. It only helps your brand. It has to be strategic, right? You have to respect that other brand, what they're all about, how they do their business, and you have to do your market research and make sure that we are aligned, we're of like minds, we respect, know, and trust and like each other, and let's move forward and grow and increase our capacity, increase our audience in this case, increase our marketing, our branding, and once you realize that and connect to that kind of energy, it's a different level, right? I've recently, since I launched Xizzle TV, I'm vibrating at a completely different frequency, and I have this conversation with other people in the venture capitalist world, in any corporate America corner office, executive offices. You tend to vibrate at a certain frequency, and you generate that kind of frequency, and it attracts the same kind of people, the same like-minded people. So those kind of people will find themselves to you, align themselves to you, and sometimes it's a split decision. You and I connected 2 years ago, and we hit it off, right? And yes, it took a couple of years for us to recircle back, but it all comes back from that initial easy yes. Yes, I'd like to do business with you. Yes, I'd like to collaborate with you. And I tend to tell this to a lot of people, not just in the media business, but in any business. Is when it's natural, when that energy, when the missions align, it really is an eye to eye. Especially if when you're dealing with someone eye to eye, that yes can be had that fast. No matter the scope of the project, how big the project, how big the agreement, it's like, wow, I see your past performance, I see your experience, I see your capabilities, I see your capacity. Yes, how can we engage? And it's that easy. And when we reconnected, you and I, on this, it was that easy. It was, hey, you do what you do, I do what I do. How can we work together? And boom, bam, boom. A couple of texts later, after we had reconnected on the phone, done deal, right? So proof is in the pudding. Here we are.
Here we are today. You summed it up beautifully. Thank you. Let's dive into your platform. We're going to pull up your website. And before we do that, anything you want to share with your audience about Xizzle TV, if people are interested in working with you, you obviously are the full package. You can help people put together and produce a network level production that really demonstrates that brand ambassador or that business owner. Tell us a little bit about that piece, and then let's take a look at your website.
Well, the website's just basically a placeholder. The experience really is on the free smart TV app, right? So you could sit down on your couch and be exposed to lifestyle entertainment brands that can, better your life and connect to your mission, and really speak to you. And that's the specialty. That's my secret sauce, right? You have your own secret sauce. You have your own way of highlighting other show producers, highlighting other talent, adopting other shows and airing other shows. My secret sauce is I want to talk to your brand. I want to give your brand its own standalone episode. Correct? So I work with Disney, Universal, and you're going to have that on Xizzle TV. But you're also going to have the mom and pop stories, the black and brown entrepreneurs, the Asian entrepreneurs, the Afro Latino entrepreneurs, or marketing and branding who need that marketing, who need that branding, who are in maybe a national construction company. And it's providing that interview with pre-production and great production value leading into that interview. So it is a standalone TV episode that is free on our Xizzle TV app, which is on Roku, Samsung, and LG. But at the same time, that episode gets cross-pollinated in the future on USA Global TV. And it's also currently simulcast, if you will, on the Grio, which is an app for African Americans, Viva Live TV, para mi gente, for Latinos, Binge Networks, Local Now, which is a news kind of app. A lot of people who like hard news tend to go to that app, and I provide lifestyle and entertainment content for them. They love my Disney Universal Studios reports, and then on Hero Go, which is basically I'm a self-described geek, so I can say it's television for geeks, like superheroes, science fiction kind of stuff. They also like my Disney and Universal Studio reports that get cross-pollinated there, if you will. And then it also my those episodes get pushed up to 300 websites who can pick up the content a la carte, right? There is no Xizzle TV show, there is no Kirk Gimenez show, there is no podcast. It's your standalone episode, and it's marketing and branding, right? It's video. I took ego out of it. I stopped branding my show. I don't do a show. It's just content. You can go on there and find great content that will speak to you, your kids, family friendly, and there's business coaching, business acumen. There's a fintech firm, Brickle Capital Finance, one of only 5 companies that does unsecured and recurring business lines of credit. So we serve a mission. That mission is, yes, in that episode, it's to do what? It's to bridge the knowledge and wealth gap, correct? You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. And there are fintech products out there, like a business line of credit, like a business trade line, that you can connect to and not pay through the nose and not pay 60% interest on your money, which is a lot of people are doing and signing merchant cash advances. I'm that guy who talks turkey, who talks money, who wants to really help people. If you're a black and brown minority woman-owned business, it's like, listen, don't sign an MCA. It's going to bury your business. You're going to be paying 60, 70%. Some people sign 2 MCAs. Now they're paying 120% on their money. And you wonder, wow, I wonder what happened to that business. I thought it was really cool. It went under. Guess what? They were probably paying 120% on the money they got loaned to. There are better options for you, like those business lines of credit, like building your business credit through a business trade line. And through my company, I get introduced to these huge, servant leaders in the fintech firm, in entertainment, in broadcasting. I have these really cool shoes that I have on right now that are my own brand. Um, they're Air Force Ones that have the Xizzle TV brand on it. Guess who made those for me? A Latina, Colombiana, I got to meet. And she does huge corporate events. She does shoes for Pisos by Tats is her name. You'll find her on Xizzle TV. She does, shoes for corporations, but also shoes for weddings. And it's just really fun, cool stuff, right? That you get exposed to on a episode by episode basis. I'm kind of like telling you how the sausage is made, but if you want to learn about media, it's all content. Like, content is king, and I realize that, and that's all Instagram is. That's all Facebook is. It's content. People providing their niche content to you, and you're going to follow 20, 30 different people to get all sort of niche content and expertise. Whereas on Xizzle TV, you launch it, and you're going to get a bunch of cool different stuff that you can serve in the internet, and that's all OTT is. That's all smart television is. By the way, you have a processor in your television, and you're surfing the internet. You're literally surfing the internet when you're on Netflix, when you're on Disney Plus, when you're on Hulu, and you're watching something. You're streaming it. You're literally surfing the internet, and it's just surfing the internet on your TV. And you're clicking left and right with a remote, but pretend that that's a mouse. Basically, you're doing the same thing. We took our computers, and we love the independence of the computer and the power of choosing what you want to see when you want to see, and we put that on a television. And that's what smart TV is. People say, I don't know much about smart television. I don't know what I watch. If you have Netflix, if you have that's not your smart television, right? There's a processor inside your smart TV. What's the brand? Do you have a Samsung? Guess what? You have a Samsung television. That's how you stream. You stream through Samsung. We're a free app on Samsung. So you would go on your Samsung television, you search for a new app. Xizzle TV would be on there. You download Xizzle TV app. Now you have a Samsung processor. Same thing with LG. If you have an LG TV, they have their own LG processor. If you have a Roku television, which is what I have at my house, it's a Roku TV. Actually, it's not. It's another brand, but it's a Roku TV. So it has a built-in Roku processor into the TV. So it's basically a Roku TV. So that's how I watch Xizzle TV. I watch myself and I watch our own content. I download Xizzle TV on my Roku, and I launched the app on the Roku television. So that's basically what smart television is, if you didn't know what it was. And there's live streaming. So live streaming is basically like old TV. You have to sit there and wait for it to come up. But now it's on demand, correct? On demand is king because you want to watch what you want, when you want it, at your leisure, at your convenience. You don't want to have to sit there and wait for 4 p.m. for your favorite show to come on. So that it is on demand. And then within the on demand, there's SVOD, AVOD. SVOD is, basically free. AVOD is ad-based video on demand. VOD, video on demand. So streaming video on demand. AVOD is ad-based uh, video on demand. I think I peeled back the curtain pretty
Yeah,
much.
I think you did. You did a fabulous job. Absolutely. We're going to bring up your website, and I understand exactly what you said. I want to make sure the audience does too, that they should go and download your app on these various destinations. Like
And
for
it's a
me, I
free
have
app.
a Roku TV, I've got an Amazon Fire TV. You download the apps right there. The same thing with USA Global TV and Radio. But let's take a look at your website for people who are interested in learning more. Here we go. And right there, download our app. What do you want people to take away from going to your website?
Well, we also have the smart TV app, right? And again, but that's just a placeholder. I follow the Netflix model, where Netflix is you can't watch their episodes unless you're on their app. So that's what I do. So if you want to see exactly how we do what we do, and if you want a marketing video, there's my interview with Elena Cardone. Talking about her when we worked on her free book that she was handing out as part of her 10x Women campaign, and we talked about the black and brown female owner. So that's the kind of content I wanted to showcase, so you could see, hey, is it worth it me downloading this free app? Again, my mission is to elevate Latinos and minorities, so I'm not going to charge you for the app. A lot of people told me, once you start charging for that app, no, that's the whole point. The whole point is I'm making television for regular people to elevate them. Why am I going to charge them for the app? Let me make the money on the advertising side and on the marketing and branding side. And that's what it's about. And then you see some of our Disney videos, and we did a preview of the Star Wars hotel. And then we also highlight brands like that Puerto Rican ice cream that they make, um, alcoholic ice cream in Puerto Rico, and then places to see. So a lot of fun, lifestyle entertainment, big brands, small brands, just fun stuff. And that's just a small sampling. We have over 60 episodes of content. A lot of Disney, a lot of Universal. The kids tend to like that. But then also a lot of elevating yourself, learning about business lines of credit, learning about business trade lines. And you can launch Xizzle TV and watch that. And what do we do? How do we teach you that? We don't bring in just some experts. No, we bring in the CEOs and founders of these fintech firms to peel back the curtain and let you know what it's all about, how to do it, what the requirements are. And there's no such thing as easy money. There's only expensive money and inexpensive money, and that's what we do.
Thank you,
But look,
Kirk.
you can book an episode right then and there as you scroll down, and get your own TV episode for your own business to market and brand yourself. And that's why I call it the Netflix of marketing and branding, because back in the old days, you'd pay a bunch of people a bunch of money to get your story on a local television station, and there was only four stations. So when you appeared on TV, your phone would ring off the hook. Your ROI was through the roof. Well, now it's a little more different, right? In terms of my case, you get all that digital distribution that I mentioned, not only on our app, but on Degrio, Viva Live TV, Binge Network, Hero, a bunch of other apps. But the important thing is that network level marketing and branding, right? When you have a network anchor talking to you about what your company is all about, what your mission is, and then you can go ahead and, yes, you're going to own that hard file. And that's another difference between me and other marketing and branding firms is, yes, I give you that digital distribution, but guess what? You're going to get the hard file. You're going to be able to put it up in your brick and mortar television, TV or monitor at your business. You're going to be able. We can chop it up for you as well and create reels for you for your social media. So there's value there, and it's at an accessible rate, and it's all about connecting to services that you can value, that aren't going to take advantage of you. I know a lot of digital ad marketing firms that they'll charge you 2,500, and they don't even go out and tell your real story. That and you see these posts, right, where there's static pictures of generic backdrops, and they're not even your story. They're not even your pictures. They're block story pictures, and they're from other services that they buy these stock footages from, or stock video from, or stock photos from. and those algorithm recognizes those, and there's no like, there's no interaction. It's not your story. It's not you. It's not your business. It's some stock footage or some stock photo, and you think the marketing firm's doing you a favor, charging you $2,500 for that. So for the same price or similar price, you get a smart TV network episode and all that other value that comes up that comes. And again, my mission is to connect you to that and do that storytelling, and that's why I built Xizzle TV is to tell your story and make it a more accessible experience for you and for that black and brown entrepreneur, uh, you know, marketing and branding person or person who doesn't have marketing and branding. And there's a lot of CEO, fractional CMOs. Uh, a lot of companies rather would just hire me to do an episode for them than hire a fractional CMO. Instant, marketing and branding, and they just do it on a regular basis with me as well. We can engage on social media as well and do social media content only, and of course that's a much different price. But it's all about providing value and really connecting entrepreneurs to something of value, something that is real, nothing fake. There's nothing fake about this. My experience is my experience. My resume is my resume. People have been watching me on TV forever, and that's the fun part. Is when you get that client, they go, "Man, I used to watch you on ESPN. Thank you for repping Latinos for 21 years. I remember you very fondly and your Latino shtick." So they used to speak a little Spanish on the air. Got a lot of heat for it, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm still having fun, right? Repping Latinos, and that's the mission. That's the mission. Repping Latinos, repping Black, Brown, anyone who's a minority, anyone who's an immigrant. I'm an immigrant myself from Venezuela. So that's what it's about. It's a new America. It's all about value. I think we're coming around. Social media. There's a lot of fakeness going on, so people want something that's real, that has value, and that is mission oriented, that has a real story behind it.
Thank you, Kurt. You hit on so many great points, especially for people who are watching, that there's an opportunity for them to take their business and awareness of their brands to a new level. A question I have for you, I come across this so often, I can't even tell you. I'll be speaking with someone about their marketing, about their branding. Oh, I'm on Instagram. That's great. I'm doing a Facebook Live. How's that working out for you? So, what I'd love for you to share with our audience is there's nothing wrong with doing a Facebook Live or having your business on Instagram. What's the value that platforms like ours actually bring to the entrepreneur?
It's the storytelling, right? You provide storytelling. You provide being on a show, getting in a professional interview who's going to dig deep and get the best soundbite out of you, and an interaction, right? The interview, for me, the interview is everything. Very few people can interview people like I interview people, correct? Two-time Emmy winner, former network anchor. How many interview hours do I have under my belt? How many interview hours do you have under your belt? And we can recognize when something, wow, will speak to an audience, when something's authentic, when you want to follow up on something. And you get that a lot when you get off the interview, like, wow, that question, no one's ever asked me that. No one's ever brought that out of me. And that's so important for my brand. I can't believe no one's ever talked about that. I can't believe I've never talked about that. And that's what it's about. For instance, I interviewed a famous interior designer called Perlalichi, and she's been on HBO. She's been everywhere. And was the first on Xizzle TV, about her heritage and her background, which is, by the way, Mexican. She was Kirk. Out of all the interviews I've done in my long storied career, no one's ever asked me about my Latina roots and how it affects and inspires me as an interior designer. Wow! So for me, that meant everything. Correct. I asked the right questions. I brought something out in her that no other journalist had, and something that's so key to her brand. And that's what that interview does. Correct. With a professional is we're going to get you ready for that interview. We're going to prep questions, and then we're going to ask follow-up questions that are not planned, that are probably going to get the best out of you and help you market and brand yourself better than you could have ever imagined. Where you get used to the monotonous, boring interview, and then you get this great interview that brings out the best not only in you, but in your brand. And that's what it's about, right? Knowing your marketing, knowing what your brand is all about. Marketing is different than branding. And that's my secret sauce. I love not only marketing, but also helping people with their brand. What is your brand all about? What are you all about? Sometimes you are your brand. For instance, I have my own brand. Xizzle TV is a brand that I own, but this is my branding. People ask me, how are you showing up for that meeting? I have a huge meeting tomorrow with a huge corporation, and I have some team members and some colleagues that are showing up to that meeting. I literally right before this show, Dr. Jacalyn, hey, how are you? What's your business attire? I go, do you not know my brand by now? I show up as a network anchor everywhere I go with a handkerchief. It's either with a tie if it's more formal or without a tie. But I am suited up everywhere I go. It's part of my brand. I got interviewed at the University of Miami. I'm a Hurricane, and I graduated from there. And they asked me to come back and do a documentary because in 1994 I was the first sports anchor in their University of Miami television history. Right, I helped launch their first half-hour sports show, and they wanted to do a documentary about the history of the university. And that's the first thing I told the students, like, there's so much out there and so many talented people. How can I stand out? It's like, understand who you are as a brand. Know what your brand is all about. What do you want to? And I clearly saw one. It's like, are you mixed? It's like, yeah, I'm mixed race. I'm half black, half white. Talk about that. Talk about those experiences. That is part of your brand. That is part of who you are. People are going to identify with you. How many people out there are mixed? And they're like, whoa, yeah, you have value, right? Nowadays, that's when we have to realize people who have different backgrounds or different niches or niches, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. You have value. You have a viewpoint, right? And develop your brand. Is it if you wear glasses? Something as simple as that. How big are your glasses? That could be your brand. That could be something that people identify you with, right? So when I show up to a meeting and I'm not wearing a suit, he looks weird. It didn't show up on brand, correct? Now, when I showed up at that University of Miami television documentary, I showed up suited up, right? I showed up as that network anchor, showed up as that two-time Emmy winner. That is my own personal brand, and I need to rep that brand everywhere I go so people can identify me everywhere I go. For instance, I'll go to a minority business conference. I'm a certified minority business owner nationwide with the NMSDC. If you're a minority entrepreneur, make sure you get certified with the NMSDC.org. And I was at this huge convention, 5,000 people. I'm at the bar, sports bar. It helped that I was at the sports bar. I was watching the World Series at the time, and I got a tap on my shoulder. I recognize you. I remember you from your days at ESPN. Now, if I had been in a cap or a T-shirt, maybe I don't look like that anchor. But I caught someone's eye. I'm just sitting there by myself, in the middle of a conference, and I got the tap on the shoulder. I remember you from ESPN. I don't think that moment would have occurred if I hadn't showed up on brand. It was part of the convention. They had a takeover of all these bars, and I just dipped into that bar for a second to check out the World Series score, correct? But boom, my branding, it helped me. By the way, that helped create a very beneficial and important business relationship for me. Just that one tap on the shoulder. Why? Because I showed up and I'm everywhere on brand. And if you didn't know the difference between branding, what a brand is, what your marketing is, that is. So if you have a brand, always rep the brand, no matter what you're doing, correct? And I teach this as the corporate Zoom coach. I've had clients like Google. I just met with Google this morning, reconnecting with them. But it's something as simple as that. If you're an entrepreneur and you're in tons of Zooms, set your Zoom up like this. Don't put your brand in the middle where you're covering it up. No one can see your brand. Move it over to the side. Now when people are talking to you on the Zoom, wow, your brand is always on site and they can see it in everything you do, correct? When I set up for this interview, whenever I do interviews from my home studio, I do the same thing, right? I apply that network level production, and this is what you call an OTS, an over the shoulder. Have your brand over the shoulder. Don't be sitting in the middle of your brand. And I can't tell you how many big, huge brands, all their executives were sitting in there. And that's the first thing I told them as a corporate Zoom coach. I said, before we even start the meeting as my corporate Zoom coach, can I ask you all to please move your Zoom graphics behind you and move the logo to the upper right or the upper left, please. And now people can see your brand. So if it's a meeting with one person or a Zoom with 20 people, your brand is being what? displayed. Right now, I'm being interviewed by you, Dr. Jacalyn. If I was standing in the middle like this of my brand, would my brand be displayed? No, my brand would be covered up, and I'd be like, "Oh, Xizzle TV, Xizzle TV." Like, oh, but now Xizzle TV is in your in a line of sight, and as I talk, it's being ingrained into to your psyche, if you will, and that's the power of having a strong brand, right? Uh, people buy Tiffany's not only just for the fact that it's great jewelry, it's for that box, and right, getting that box, that iconic box, is their brand. Without that box, it's not Tiffany's. Starbucks, right? Their brand is what? Upper echelon. If they sold a large coffee, you think they'd be able to charge $27? Obviously, it's not $27. Think they'd be able to charge $27 for a large coffee? No, but what do they call it? Venti, right? That's marketing, that's branding, that's labeling. Venti, right? By the way, Venti is 20 in Italian, so that's 20 ounces. Or a grande, right? You don't go to Starbucks and order a large coffee, right? You go to Dunkin' Donuts for that. So that's part of their brand, correct? And once you start realizing these things, you start applying them to your business, right? To your entrepreneurial journey. And before I launched Xizzle TV, it took me what's the 9 months to come up with the right logo, the right name. I wanted everything to be just right on my brand. I wanted it to pop. I wanted it to be universal. I wanted to. What's the most universal thing that means that something is amazing? Doesn't matter if it's Chinese, Indian, Sri Lanka. It doesn't matter. What could it be? And then I texted someone a fire emoji, and I go, "That's it." I told my graphic guy, "Build me a fire emoji, kind of unique, and put Xizzle on it." Right? Misspell it. Another branding, marketing 101 thing. Misspell it. Makes it unique. Right? If I spelled it with Xizzle, you know how hard that is to trademark? If it's spelled Xizzle with an S, or the differentiator is that it is Xizzle with an X, right? It's not Sizzle with an S. So, start thinking about that before you even launch your brand, your marketing, your branding. Just sit back and really have a hard, honest, open conversation about what the heck it is you're going to build. Don't just go in there and say, "Oh, and you know how many, companies are out there that have the same name and it's the same brand over and over and over again. Really do an educated, calm, cool, clean look at what you're doing. If your company right now, if you really didn't do that, it's not too late, correct? You can still go back and do a reboot of your brand. I'm consulting with a company who has a major electrical construction company. He's doing a complete rebrand, and he's doing so why? Because he want to take his company from the tens of millions of dollars to the hundreds of millions of dollars, and he understands all of that needs branding, rebranding, restyling, styling, a marketing package, a branding package, right? That's hard work, and sometimes you need a little guidance, you need a little help, and you need to realize that everything you do has to be on brand, and it's all marketing and branding. Even as simple as going to a conference, right? That's why you see these companies with their logos on their shirts and their reps with the logos on the shirts or the hats. Correct? Walk in with a hat, walk in with a shirt. Same thing on your Zoom. Are you representing your brand on every Zoom you attend? That's one of the things I teach as the corporate Zoom coach. You're dropping the ball if you are not branding yourself on every single Zoom, even if it's a one-person Zoom. That is your brand. Be proud of it. Display it. Talk about it. Have it as your backdrop, and be proud of it, right? And especially if you have a larger corporation, are your employees repping the brand on every Zoom, on every Google Meet, on every Teams? Make sure they are. Make sure the brand is showing off in the right manner, and make sure they're representing the brand correctly, not only with the graphics but with their on-camera presentation. And that's something else that you and I have talked about in terms of coaching on-camera people. But now everyone needs on-camera people. That's what I trained the 4,000 Google marketing employees is how to have that skill set on camera, how to turn it on the flip of the switch, how to give them those 3 practical tips that is my IEP on how to bridge that digital divide and speak on camera. Not a lot of people have been trained to speak on camera, And post-pandemic, guess what? We're all on camera. And no one's taught us how to speak on camera. And that I've been doing that for decades with interns who have gone on to have crazy, amazing careers. And that's something else that you and I have talked about as well. It's like, listen, if we're going to cross-pollinate shows, I want shows who have the best talent. And if I need to coach those talents on my practical tips, I'm going to let them know, hey, work on this, work on that. And that's all energy, right? If you're a servant leader, you're there to help people. You're not transactional. Listen, I want the best for you. I want the best for your show. Why don't you start doing this instead? And here's a little tip. You're doing this great, but you can do this a little better. And you should sit a certain way. We network anchors sit a certain way. I'm sitting that certain way right now. And we stand a certain way. We breathe a certain way. And it all leads to what? An authoritative tone. So you, when you're on the other side of the TV or your computer or whatever, believe what I'm talking about. And I'm speaking in that authoritative tone. And it's all nuanced, right? And guess what? It's all been rehearsed. Yeah, it's all rehearsed. It's everything you can practice. You can practice it. You can gain that confidence. You can gain that quiet confidence, and you can gain that je ne sais quoi, that I don't know what. And again, it's all with rehearsal. It's all with reps. It's all with having the right knowledge and the right practical tips on what to apply, when to apply it. And it all goes back to what we talked about. You know what you know, you don't know what you don't know, right? Dr. Beck.
You hit on so many important points. A few I'm going to embrace into my work that I'm actually haven't been doing. So thank you for that. We also have a comment from Gaffa Brumley Priestley, who is watching live from Ghana. So,
hello, Gaffa.
Nice.
Hola.
Kirk, I'd like to close out the show with explaining to our viewers and our listeners how our collaboration can benefit them. So people come on to USA Global TV and Radio. Maybe they have a show, they're part of our team. Maybe they are a guest and they're coming on to do an interview and to share their story. They can have their show, their episode or episodes actually be streamed onto Xizzle TV. So
correct.
What is it? And by the way, it's very simple for them. It's really turnkey. But what's the benefit for them? Again, I'm going back to, well, can I just slice and dice it and put a minute on Instagram?
It goes back to that digital distribution, right? And a bigger audience, correct? I just detailed exactly where Xizzle TV airs, and that's not where USA Global TV airs. Yes, we have some similarities, but the distribution to other third-party smart TV apps where people are literally sitting in their couches and picking to watch with a remote control your episode, correct? And that's priceless branding, because again, that's the person who chose to watch it with we provide the best headline, the best detail, and the best shot of and thumbnail, if you will, because it's a thumbnail everywhere really nowadays. It's a best thumbnail and headline possible for your episode, and that's going to help it create distribution and gain traction, and that is great branding, because if your episode is now also streaming on the Grio, Viva Live TV, Binge Network, Local Now, Hero Go, Xizzle TV, USA Global TV. It's massive digital distribution, and to be honest with you, that's what a lot of corporations ask me about. That wow, that digital distribution is really impressive. Do you know how much we have to pay to get something similar to that with the big ones? Right? Not every huge app is accessible to those content creators, those show producers. So I think that's what you and we talked about, is our mission is to help people tell their story. And by collaborating, we're going to help those people tell their stories to a larger, wider audience that doesn't usually watch for instance, your regular audience probably doesn't watch Xizzle TV, and vice versa. But now that content gets cross-pollinated and shown everywhere. For instance, I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, if you have Disney Plus, they've started to populate the Hulu content inside of Disney Plus. Why? Because they realize people just want a one-stop shop. They want one place to watch all their content. And if they're on Disney Plus, they don't want to exit Disney Plus. Oh, what a hassle to go to Hulu. go look at something else. No, now it's all in one place. And Disney's done. No one does a better job than Disney of letting people know that that is happening. And if you've been on Disney Plus, the promotions, the commercials, the marketing, the branding about that is that yes, now they are together, and now you can watch Hulu on Disney Plus and watch The Bear, which was a huge critical success on Disney Plus, right? Shogun, another huge Hulu critical success on Disney Plus, and that's we're not Disney Plus and we're not Hulu, but now you have that accessible, right? And by the way, Xizzle TV, I'm in talks right now to possibly get distribution on those big guns like Netflix, like the Hulu, like the Tubi. So as our distribution grows at Xizzle TV, guess what? USA Global TV's distribution is going to grow. And if you're on USA Global TV, your distribution will grow through Sizzles as well, and through what? That collaboration and that partnership. But it all boils down to what? Providing value, real value. You're getting, you know, real valuable views. You're not getting people just swiping up and hoping to see your content on a small screen. These are people who are on their couches engaging with your content and your brand and your show.
Brilliant. Thank you for summing that all up. We have been posting your social media handles as well as your website. How can people reach out to you, and who would you like to contact you?
Well, I'm very approachable, right? It's at Kirk Gimenez everywhere. I've been certified, certifiable, but I've been certified on all those platforms forever. Even before you could pay to get certified. I've been certified on those platforms everywhere. And listen, here's another tip for business owners. If you are a B2B and your business is wants to find other business leaders, the place to be for you is LinkedIn, right? Yes, okay, do Instagram and do whatever you want. I'm not telling you don't do Instagram, but LinkedIn is where all the decision makers are, right? It's all where their executives are, the people who write the checks. So I know my company has grown a lot because of the branding I've been doing, not only for myself but for others on LinkedIn. I've been doing branding for the NMSDC, branding for the U.S. Asian American Chamber of Commerce, branding for the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So my specialty is multicultural diversity marketing. If you need help with that, if you need a fractional CMO, if you need your story told by a network anchor, I'm accessible, I'm available, and more importantly, I'm interested in telling your story because I am like you, a Latino, minority, black and brown owner, and that's why my personal business motto is black and brown, don't mess around. So contact me if you've been having marketing help. Contact me. I'm also a member of a conglomerate called Xelsior Empowerment Group. We're all certified minority businesses nationwide. We're changing the procurement energy, if you will. We deal with corporations, from construction to staffing to finances. I'm able to put you in contact with those people who have true experience, are giants in their industry, can connect you to projects, can connect you to money, can elevate and can increase your capacity through that partnership and collaboration that we were just talking about that you and I are doing. I do that in every industry, correct? Before I used to be, a two-time Emmy winner that founded Xizzle TV. Now I'm an entrepreneur. It just so happens to have founded Xizzle TV and who has connections in the finance world and the VC world, in construction and staffing. You name it, we can probably help you if you need help and you want to connect to people you can know, like, and trust. And by the way, yes, we're all minorities, either women, black, brown, Asian, Filipino, you name it. That's what Excelsior Empowerment Group is all about. But before I go, the whole point we're an empowerment group is we want others to know. We as certified minority business owners built this empowerment group to inspire others. Go out there, build your own ecosystems, really connect to that energy of collaboration. And when you do, you're going to start vibrating at a different frequency. You're going to you're going to attract, and you're going to really connect to other people who have that same energy, and who are you going to be able to build those ecosystems with, correct? not everything for us is corporations. Yes, we get to meet corporate officers and procurement officers and procurement leads and global procurement leads. But more importantly is we want to do business with other Black and brown people who need our services, who need financing, who need construction, who need a prime, who need a subcontractor, who want to be a subcontractor. That's what we do. That's who we are in terms of the Xelsior Empowerment Group. And really, I hope you were listening to what I was saying. If you're a certified minority business, if you're an MBE, is the fact that yes, there are people out there doing it. We get a lot of, wow, I can't believe this is happening for the first time in the certified minority business space. We never thought it was possible. Yes, we're out there doing it, and if we're doing it, you can do it too. You probably already have strategic partners in place. It's being intentional about it, and it's really doubling down on that collaborative energy. And I hope that I don't say it to brag. I'm saying it so you can go out there and do it yourself, so you can connect to that energy and really believe in yourself and believe in your partners, and not only know, like, and trust them, know, love, and trust them. Right? Develop that love, and how does that happen? It's by developing relationships, meaningful connections, meaningful business relationships where you can really trust that person on the other side of the table, and that's how business gets done like that.
I'm loving what I am hearing. And for anybody out there who wants to learn more, we've got information here on the screen. If you're listening on an audio only platform, just send an email to info@usaglobaltv.com and we will route your request as appropriate. Thank you, partner. I really appreciate it. Is this the right way? No, this is.
Yeah, and these are things you can practice right off camera to know that, hey, Xizzle TV.
There you go.
Way go.
I'm super grateful for this opportunity to have you here today, and also to collaborate with you and give people the opportunity to have their content streamed on all of your platforms as well. So thank you for being here. Yes, ours together, the collective. Thank you for taking this journey with me.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Thank you for your energy, your consideration, your kindness, your professionalism, your interviewing skills, todo, everything. Besos from Miami, Florida, baby.
Thank you. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Adios, everyone. Bye.
Adios. What I'd love to leave you with today, wherever you are in the world, there are opportunities out there for you, but you've got to make the effort. Yes, sometimes things come to us. That's true. But it's all about collaborating. And I know sometimes it can be scary putting yourself out there, but the rewards will come. They might not be instant. It might not be overnight, but I implore you to do something different to get more exposure for your business. Why? Because you have value, because your goal is to help and serve others. And that's what we do here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please spread the word about our media collaboration, USA Global TV and Radio with Xizzle TV. We look forward to supporting you and your work in the coming months and years. Thank you. Bye for now.